What does quantum physics have to do with transgender rights? The Venn diagram of physics teachers who became bioethicists is non-existent, with the exception of one circle that is me. Let's break this down. I spent a lot of time in graduate school working on something called the ontological status of the wave function. I left that field behind to become an ethicist, but I did work on it for quite a while, specifically with Tim Maudlin, David Albert, and one of Brian Greene's students who introduced me to him. You've probably heard of something called wave-particle duality. Quantum is a buzzword and it gets thrown around in all the movies. And it gets thrown around in all the movies for a specific reason. I can say this with some authority. We don't actually know what the ontological status of the wave function is. We don't know whether it's a thing or a probability wave or what. We don't know what that thing is. In the traditional history, Einstein himself wrote a paper with Podolsky and Rosen. This paper gets name-dropped in the Avengers movie by Iron Man, the APR paradox. That was a real paper in which Einstein said that quantum physics couldn't be a complete theory for this, that, and the other reasons. 1950 rolls around and John Bell writes another paper adding Einstein in the mentions and says, hey, actually, you're wrong. And later, 1970s, Alan Aspect does an experiment, proves that Einstein was wrong and that John Bell was right, and that actually there is an incompleteness, there's something unspeakable in quantum mechanics. Everybody that gets a physics degree knows this history, and a lot of it reaches the popular audience with aphorisms like God does not play dice with the universe, spooky action at a distance. Einstein famously was wrong about all of these things. But what does that have to do with civil rights? Enter Chandra Prescott-Weinstein, doctor of theoretical cosmology, referenced in like the last 6 videos that I made. Moving through this kind of quickly, you may have heard that like light is a wave and that matter is a particle. This is incorrect. Light and matter are both waves and particles. This is often referred to as wave-particle duality. I don't want to get too hung up on the details here, and I will let other science YouTubers and TikTokers get into the details. Other people have explained this, but I want to give one specific example. You can Google the details, but wave-particle duality leads to something called superposition. Superposition is a property of particles that they can do more than one thing at once. Let's actually look at a different example. Like, imagine you're on a street and you are hearing a car drive by, someone honk, a friend talking, and your music in your headphones all at the same time. You can do all that, you can hear all of that, because a property of waves is superposition. You can have more than one wave, multiple sound waves, in the same place at the same time. Same thing is true of matter and particles. You can have more than one in one place at the same time, or one can be doing more than one thing at the same time. I'm way out of time. I'll make a part 2 for this. What does this mean? On a fundamental level, baked into the ontological status of the universe is a non-binary nature to reality. We'll talk about that more in part 2.